I'm in transit right now, and I just want to talk a little bit about this shift that's apparently happened at the dating site Bumble. Bumble was distinguished among the dating apps as being the one app where you, if you were a guy, you had to wait for the woman to approach you. And that was instituted because the founder of it said something like, well, you know, there's so many controlling men out there, and you know, I don't want to get, the whole idea was we don't want to get bothered by all these men, you know, getting in contact with us that we don't like, and being a burden on us, and not leaving us alone, you know, and being so annoying, and pestering us for dates when they're losers. So we're gonna make our app different. We're gonna make our app so that the woman has to, well, it was not phrased as has to, the woman gets to make the first move. She can look at what's out there, find somebody who doesn't look like a loser, and then contact him. And that way she won't get contacted by any of the losers that she, you know, gets pestered by all the time on dating apps. But now that's changed. Now that's they've decided to change their policy and allow men to make the first move. Allow men to make the first move. I chuckle just because, you know, on a dating app, if you're a man, you make the quote, make the first move. You know, you try to engage in someone in conversation, you're left on red. Like 98% of the time, I'm given to understand. It's what some, you know, dating apps are what somebody once called a mug's game for men. I like that term, a mug's game. You know, it's just you're going to get ignored. But now I'm trying to understand this shift at Bumble, because apparently, you know, they've been contacting all the desirable men. They've been contacting all the men that they want to hear from, which are the ones that are cute and rich and I don't know, whatever. Not bothering with the scrubs, with the dusties, with the incels. You know, the like 90% of, the lower 90% of the men on the social totem pole. So what went wrong with that? I'm wondering what went wrong. Why was there? Why did that become something where the women on the app complained about it so much, got so up in arms about it, that they demanded this change be made? I mean, I'm really actually asking this question. I don't have an answer in mind. I'm really just actually asking this question. Now isn't Bumble just like every other app out there? You know, why this was the thing that you got on if you were a woman and you wanted to weed out the losers. Right? Isn't that what distinguished Bumble? It gave you a chance to weed out the losers and to contact the guys who you're interested in. Maybe is it just maybe that they're these the women who contacted first wound up getting rejected a lot? I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to understand it. Like, maybe the men that they contacted were men who had who just had this dating app going because what the hell, but they already had tons of options, and so the women who contacted them often had the sad experience of being left unread, and the rejection of feeling the rejected, the feeling like a reject, the feeling like a loser, the feeling like you're unwanted. Like 90% of men know. I mean, whoever you are, it's not a good feeling. I mean, I have enough empathy to go around. It's not a good feeling to be ignored, to be rejected, whatever. But I mean, I just like, okay, I'm just trying to form a thesis in my mind for why this happened. Here's my thesis, okay? I'm just formulating this on the fly as I'm driving down this country road. I guess my thesis would be that a lot of women were contacting the highly desirable men, and the highly desirable men just weren't giving them the time of day, because they looked and saw, oh, she's contacting me, she doesn't look that great, I could do better, I could, I've got 7 or 8 women I could call right now and ask to come over, so I'll just ignore this girl. It must be that a lot of women had that experience. But the thing is, I mean, like, so now they want men to approach first. Are they thinking that, okay, they're thinking that if the men approach first, that the desirable men that they want to approach them, I mean, are they thinking the desirable men are going to be more likely to make the first move, and more likely to want something other than someone to sleep with that night, but they'll be actually, the desirable men will come calling, and they'll be interested in commitment. Because when women complain about men being commitment phobic, it's not that they're not accurate. It's just that the men that they're complaining about are the men that they want to commit to them. The others, the desirable ones, the other ones don't count. They don't really register in their minds as men. So I guess the idea now is, and again, I'm just formulating this on the fly, and I welcome anybody else's opinions or ideas on this subject. But my notion is, in trying to piece this all together, and again, I'm speaking it as someone who's out of the game, who's old. I'm a Gen Xer. I'm 53. This is not my game anymore. But I do have a son, and I do care about young men. More than just. I'm not saying I exclusively care about young men, but I know that there's a lot of young men in this world we've got today. Young men are getting the shaft a lot, so I'm not insensitive to that. But anyway, so that's my thesis. My thesis is that women are either getting ignored by the men that they really want, the quote unquote high value men, or maybe they're just getting used. Maybe the guy that they want gets back to them and says, "Sure, let's meet up. Let's let's meet up somewhere, and the meetup becomes a hookup, if you know what I mean. And then they don't hear from him anymore. There was an article in Evie, which is a magazine geared towards young conservative women. There was an article in Evie which bore the headline how to tell if you're on some guy's roster, and the meaning of it is, like, if you are with a guy and you think he's great, but then actually he's just wanting to use you, and he's got a dozen or so. He's basically got his harem out there. How to tell when that's the case? I haven't read that article. I don't think it's. I think I would have to pay to get past their paywall to read it. But it's interesting that kind of article is like out there for young women, because the men that they want to be with would be the type of men who would have rosters, who would have options, right? So anyway, this is an interesting development, and I've told you all my thesis. Let me know what y'all think. Why did Bumble decide to become like every other dating app now? Where if you're a woman, you can get on it and you'll just get like 42 like immediately, like within the first half hour, whoever you are, whether even if you're halfway decent looking, you'll get like 85 men matching or wanting to match with you, and like of the 85, maybe 2 of them will be desirable to you. You know how this stuff works. You know by now how this all works in our day and age. So what do y'all think? What's the reason for this change? Why is Bumble now like every other dating app in our bleak social landscape? Let me know.